us here on the English broadcast as we welcome back you to the Blue Void and immediately on over into Champion Select.
Yeah, but it's an absolute shock, and with that said, it's going to be Talon on red side this time, as it has seen a lot of success, especially for Talon. They were on red side last time when they faced AHQ. They 2-0'd this team, and right now we'll see whether or not they can replicate and get back up from such a devastating loss against AHQ.
Yeah, and Talon have opted to take red side, as when it comes to our best of fives, loser of the previous game gets side selection when it comes to the next, and starting things off here is actually going to be a LeBlanc ban coming out from AHQ up against Candy as well as the Varus.
Yeah, it seems to me they still respect Candy's LeBlanc, especially on red side. I believe it is the comfort side that Talon is now ready to take. And now it is going to be the same. Actually, no, it's not going to be the same bans as Olaf and Callista this time, which they used earlier. It's going to be denied away from AHQ.
All right, so no Ornn available. Callista and Olaf taken away by Talon, and we'll be looking toward now their third and final ban. What do they wish for AHQ not to pick up in the first rotation? And of course, now with Talon on the red side, they do have the option to go for the counter pick at the very end of the draft. Maybe that's what they've been kind of waiting for here, but with the set being banned, that does mean the Aphelios is available for AHQ as the first pick.
Do they take it? Oh, they will. And that's going to be an insta-lock. And for Talon, what is your response, as the usual counters to Aphelios that we've seen so far in the PCS is a mage bot lane, either a Syndra, or for Talon, they can still opt for the usual Misfortune. Well, we'll have to see what they decide to do in this draft.
What that does mean here for the side of Talon, it's the go-to special. The Senna is still available, and then pair that up with the Kench, possibly there for Kaiwing, might be the optimal combo to go for. This bot lane duo, the Senna has like a 45 KDA, and the Kench has like a 35. This is like the best combo that Talon have in their bot lane, and that's what they want to go ahead and take up against the Aphelios.
Yeah, exactly. And this has been picked 4 times by Unified and Kaiwing, and it's currently sitting at, I believe, 100% win rate. So again, they are willing to give up the Aphelios just to secure this combo that they've been winning always.
All right, we do see, though, the Trundle going to get locked in here for AHQ. So for Calling You, he's going to be able to try and troll around onto the Rift, and possibly now for Ysera, going to be getting the Thresh getting locked in.
Does Talon still get the Rek'Sai? Or perhaps maybe...
Possibly.
Talon?
They could go for the Rek'Sai. It is available and open, and that would allow them to mirror pretty much every pick. But no, they're going to opt in for this Maokai, which, again, you're adding another big front line here, and you're putting a lot of pressure now onto Candy and likely Unified to have to carry this out. But the Senna won't come online until, a decent part into the game.
Yeah, unless Talon will really decide to go for the snowball phase, which is very difficult. As we've seen in the previous game, HQ had a lot of lingering vision to track down River, and it means that River can't exactly find these fights to, send off either Unified and Candy into that snowball air quote position. And right now, it's the Azir getting banned, so against it, Candy.
Yeah, Candy not going to have the Azir, and I think that's a rather telegraphed pick, so I like that AHQ is actually going to ban it out, because they need some sort of consistent DPS outside of just, this Senna, especially that's, all honesty, her kit's more upfront burst, and you already see now the Kindred also getting banned out here by AHQ, taking away a lot of these consistent damage threats that could come out for Talon.
Yeah, I wonder what Talon decides to pick up. Are they going for, I don't know, a Graves out of nowhere for Talon against this Trundle, or perhaps go a little bit more standard, which is going to be the Rek'Sai, and that would be the case then, as again, River wasn't very hot during the first game that we've seen, and it's all thanks to AHQ's pressure and as well as vision.
And now the fact is the Syndra is still up and available. It could be blind picked here for AHQ, but if you look at Talon's composition, like, what else do you kind of have in the mid lane that you want maybe consistent DPS when it comes to later game team fights? You could look at maybe the Cassiopeia, possibly the Ryze. There's a couple options still for Candy, but they're all pretty vulnerable against something like a Syndra in lane.
If they're going for early game, I assume either maybe the Pantheon route or perhaps the Akali, which has been picked up recently in, the playoffs. But now this is going to be either Ziv on this, if they do lock this in, it's going to be the Gangplank. And that's going to be a tree matchup over the Pirate if they do lock this in.
All right, so we get ourselves Pirate locked in, the Gangplank likely for Civ. If you guys watched any of Worlds last year, you probably remember the highlight play coming out from him during the group stage. Able to take down the 1v2, and for Talon now, what's the question? What is going to be the answer here in mid lane? You mentioned the Akali. This again puts a lot of pressure though on Candy to find the flanks, and that was just something we didn't see from him in game 1.
And they have to make this work. They have to make at least when Candy reaches level 6, or either set up for a kill with... it's going to be difficult, as Uniboy will have a lot of pokes coming from the Dark Sphere. I'm excited to see this matchup, as Akali can really surprise you with the damage, and so as well with the Syndra.
Yeah, I'm interested here. Again, I got to give credit to AHQ and Green Tea and Zero. They've been just on point when it comes to these drafts, and we'll see whether or not Talon can find their targets. River, this time around in particular, really needs to step up to the table to really try and get his lanes ahead, or at least snowballing through Candy on this Akali, or elsewise I feel like we could just easily see a repeat of what we saw in game 1.
Yeah, again, just as you mentioned, a lot of pressure towards Candy, and as well as River for making this Rek'Sai work, because that was just a very painful defeat coming from game number 1. But it's all about that reset, and looks like it's going to be another possibly explosive fight coming from these two teams.
Yeah, for Talon, they're looking to at least tie up the series 1-1 here against AHQ. You're not looking to possibly face yourself being eliminated from the upper bracket. Only on game 3 of this series, which, in all honesty, both you and me, we expected this to possibly even be a grand finals worthy matchup. And so far, AHQ, they've been dominating. We'll see whether or not Talon can fight back.
And this game is going to set the pace, set that little preview whether or not this is going to be a victory for AHQ, maybe a 3-0, or could possibly go for that game 5. And with that, a ton of pressure once more for Talon.
Let's see here, loading onto the Rift.
Welcome to the Summoner's Ring.
Nice little overview. Of course, our playoffs were in our first weekend of the playoffs, and we've already seen some explosive matchups, and I am so happy League Ops have enabled emotes finally for the league. It's my favorite thing when it comes to competitive. The BM yesterday was great. Looks like we could maybe see a little play up here toward the top side of the map. They were trying to maybe catch out Civ, but they know where this ball lane is, so that's going to force Talon to have to back off.
Yeah, and that would be the case, as possibly looking for a pick from Ziv, possibly in the brush. But yeah, we've seen so many times where Gangplank can potentially be doved upon multiple times, especially you have a Rek'Sai on the opposite end. You've got Hanabi with the easy route, especially you don't need your level 6 to be that effective. But at the same time, HQ gotta praise their early game vision, and that's the reason why Talon is not able to move forward with their lead. And again, for Candy, this Akali has to work, and especially you're going up against the Syndra. I do imagine it will be a little bit difficult, considering, again, it's all about who gets to burst who first.
Yeah, I think early on, the one thing that Candy's always going to have is the fact that he's on an energy-based champion. So naturally, you're able to usually stay in the lane a little bit longer, just try and clear out the minions with your Q if you're on the Akali. He's got to be careful, though, if he gets poked out. It's a bit rough, as he probably doesn't want to have to use that teleport to get back to lane too often, especially once we hit around that level 6. We might see Candy try and make plays happen. Bot lane, though, it's going to come down to, I think, is Kaiwin going to put on an insane performance like we've seen on this Kench time and time again during the PCS spring split?
And I think that was the lacking part, especially at the previous match, where I don't think Kaiwing was in the position to actually save these members. He was not on the Tom Kench. So now it will enable that. For Kongya, though, this could be a setup gank for Hanabi at topside.
Looking for it. Instead, he's going to back off, it seems, as Hanabi wasn't really playing into the wave, and he's already made his way down the river. So no early troll appearance just yet from the Trundle. They'll have to keep track, though, as Kongya. We usually see him on the likes of, say, that Jarvan, sometimes the Sejuani. We've seen a couple Trundle games come out from him, and he's had some okay performances. For me, though, it's where is River? What is River going to do this game? Because especially in Game 1, we've always mentioned how Talon, they usually rely on Candy and River as a pair, similar to AHQ with Kongya and Uniboy, where they are the catalyst for their team to try and get ahead, where, unfortunately, we just barely saw any appearances from him on his Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and even though River was attempting a couple of ganks either on bot or even in mid the first game, there's a ton of vision every single time. So Talon is denied that sort of pressure coming from River. And at that point, it was already too late, as AHQ has been grabbing most of the leads. And again, it all came down to that Rift Herald fight where Talon, though, can set up for this gank at mid lane. It's not Alessandra anymore. Uniboy on the Syndra is going to be a little bit more vulnerable, considering, again, that's a teleport. You're lacking one more defensive summoner spell laning-wise. And that, I feel like River can take advantage of. It's all about managing the waves, I suppose, as, again, for Talon, or rather for AHQ, it's already shoved towards their own tower.
Yeah, you see there for Uniboy, he's already a bit low on mana, but he does have his Corrupting Claw. He's going to run out, actually, on this next tick. He does have 2 biscuits, though. So a lot of sustain coming in through the runes, as well as the starting item. So it'll allow him to at least try and farm up the wave as best as he can. Hook! Ooh, Ysera's going to want that hook back, as Kaiwing got rooted in place by Waco and wasn't able to connect. All so far, so good. Probably wouldn't have seen much off that play, as, again, Candy trying to push on in here and try and force Uniboy to have to drop some of the CS to the tower.
Yeah, and at this point, for Candy, just as you mentioned, because of the energy vase versus mana, Candy will definitely just have to wait for Uniboy to run out of juice. And with that, Candy will still be able to finish this wave off and manage to crash that wave. Therefore, Uniboy will be forced to use the teleport to catch on. And for Candy, will be satisfied and actually can go back without reset.
I can decide if he just wants to go ahead and walk back into the lane here. Is Candy going to miss that one CS, but not the end of the world, as that's going to likely force the Akali now to go back and try and get her first couple components for her first item. It's going to be a tier rush, actually, coming out of Uniboy right away.
Yeah, most likely trying to mitigate the, once you get that Seraph's Embrace, just mitigate the burst coming from Candy later on, as for sure, on this Akali pick, you would like to either target Uniboy in towards the fights and remove that insta burst coming from the side of AHQ, and I feel like that is going to be the defensive route, as well as have more sustain in lane mana-wise, so you can last as long as well, considering you were forced to use a teleport, Candy did not, so right now you don't have that teleport advantage.
And it's already kind of showing for the side of AHQ, they're looking for the late game. They don't really care about this early mid-game hype that could possibly come out from Talon, as most of the time we see from Syndra, her first item back will be usually the Lost Chapter to build into that Luden, so you get that big upfront amount of burst, and also get a little bit of extra mana sustain on your level. So the tier can do the mana sustain just fine for you, and like you mentioned, just start to build toward that shield to try and not get just instantly bursted out by Candy later.
Yeah, that is definitely the plan. So that is a timer. That is the window of opportunity for Talon to initiate, because since AHQ will be opting for more of these defensive items later on to defend, Talon can take advantage of that, as HQ will lack a little bit of damage earlier on the form of Uniboy. Again, nicely done. Coming from the Syndra. And yeah, it's all about a River on that level 6, whether or not he's going to pay a visit somewhere in the map.
Well, so far the Rek'Sai has been rather quiet. It's mainly just come down to the vision put down on the side of AHQ along that river path, so it makes it rather difficult for River to try and go for a dive, especially in that mid lane with the help of Candy, as they might be trying to dive onto Uniboy, but with the defensive vision coming out, Syndra will have plenty of time to have to back off. Kongya, though, on the bot side of the map, hit about that 7.5 minute mark, and you know what time it is. It's going to be Dragon time as the bot lane's able to get priority. Candy's going to come on by and see this take place, but that should give enough time for Uniboy to actually roam back on over, as he on his Syndra able to get a nice stun into a hook, and it's just a CC chain lockdown, and that's first blood going on over to AHQ.
Oh dear, oh my, the intention of Candy was to just scout, but just got caught out by AHQ there. And the thing was, they were only after a sneaky dragon, but got a little bit of extra with a kill and a first blood.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a beautiful CC chain that comes out here. Unfortunately, nothing that really Candy could do, and that is not the start we were looking for. We mentioned the window of opportunity for this Akali was, level 6, but down in the bot lane, Waco able to get himself to safety with the Lantern off Ysera.
And again, it's all coming down to vision once more. This is, if we count from game number 1, this is like the 4th or 5th time that River decided to just visit bot lane, and vision will deny that once more. And it's not pretty. That first blood coming from HQ, definitely not pretty for Talon. Especially, there were only 2 members there. And Candy wanted to try something by pathing towards the river instead of a little bit backwards towards the blue buff. So that was an interesting take. We'll have to see. That's just 1 kill, though. Candy has still yet to show his strength with his Akali. Remember how this pick in particular can just really surprise and burst down certain targets, even out-duel when it comes to perhaps when Uniboy decides to go all in, possibly maybe even dodge to scatter the weak, and that would be the opportunity when it comes to the lane, perhaps when they want to do the 1v1s with this lane in particular.
The only issue now for Candy is with Uniboy picking up an assist gold there off that first blood for the side of AHQ. He's going to have as much mana sustain as he could possibly want as he ends up getting that last chapter immediately. So might just opt into the Ludens and say, all right, we already have ourselves a little bit of advantage. I'm feeling confident. I might just try and burst him down myself.
And that is the plan, and it's just working perfectly for AHQ. And now we'll see the swap coming from Talon first. And at this time around, though, both AD carries are now level 6. It's not like earlier where AHQ forced a fight at Rift Herald, where Talon, Unified, and Kaiwing did not have their ults just yet. And with that, HQ is head starting this Rift Herald.
Yeah, because the thing about the red side is you have to be the first ones to actually rotate toward the top side of the map just because of that natural advantage blue side has getting into the Baron pit. It's going to be teleport coming out, though, immediately from Hanabi, trying to get into the middle of the fight. HQ going to get locked down. In comes Candy, getting a decent amount of damage onto Waco. That's going to force HQ to have to back off, though, as they're getting maybe a little bit too confident. Shelly coming back in, wants to rejoin on the fight, it seems. She will reset, though, as she went down to about 1,000 health, and that's a lot of ultimates burned, but Candy still has his available.
Yeah, Uniboy also has Unleashed Power, so they can burst someone down if they want to. And now, looks like they're going to go for round 2.
Try again. Kongya waiting for his cooldowns, has that pillar, has his ground available. River is stuck inside the pit. He has to back off, and that's going to allow Kongya to actually go ahead and try and start this one back up. Shelly, though, resets, comes back out to 1,200. They'll be going on over to AHQ. Can they actually secure the eye, though, is the question. It might have been just a quick deny. Uniboy gets tagged by the Shuriken. In goes Candy, trying to find the assassination, and he'll find it with the help of Hanabi. And like that, Talon find their opening.
Whoa.
It's going to be 2 kills going each way as Talon find themselves a 3rd in the very end. And it's going to be the Rift Herald denied on the side of Talon as they also pick up 3 kills for 1.
Beautifully done, and well, the kills mostly went to Hanabi, but nonetheless, Candy had a huge impact in that game, and Rift Herald had to be sort of restarted maybe once or twice in this fight, and it was just so long. Again, a lot of the ults have already been utilized in this one.
Well, the big one here is Candy. He still has his Flawless Execution available, and he saves that, and also he tags Uniboy with a beautiful shuriken before he flashed over the wall, and unfortunately there's just no escape from this Akali when he heads on in.
Yeah, exactly, and you get that tag in, you just jump right out. Even the exhaust was not able to help because it was already quite too late. Talon already crashing down from the front with Candy disrupting the backline, and those are the fights that Talon wants to take.
And this is the window that they had, and they're able to strike, so that'll give Talon a small gold advantage, but still AHQ pushing in as Uniboy should be able to at least get a turret plate for himself. They do at least also get the Dragon earlier on in the game. We're going to have Cloud Drake in about 30, but I do think now AHQ are going to probably check a little bit of their pacing, check what they have on their items, because it's shown that Talon are just a little bit stronger right now.
Yeah, considering we do have at least for Wako on the BF sword and a pickaxe already in hand, so that's going to help a little bit. You can see even laying down the tower is enough for Talon to just be zoned out from earlier and allow Hanabi to be just that forward tank. But now, 4 seconds on the clock for this dragon to spawn. Talon, they want to fight this one for sure.
Can see them already posturing rather aggressively. Hanabi, though, has to walk down from top lane to actually be part of this fight. Does have ultimate available, though. Meanwhile, Civ is just going to try and clear out the wave in top lane and try and get some damage onto the tower. Has Cannon Barrage as well. It's Kongyu. He's going to lock down Hanabi at this point, but that's going to be Dragon going in favor of Talon, as it looks like AHQ know their pace at the moment and say, all right, you know what? We're just happy getting some gold over onto Civ. We'll trade the one Dragon.
Yeah, and especially that they locked in this gangplank pick, so he's not able to make as much impact at this point of the game with the barrels. That will be for later, so the Cannon Barrage will be that key team fight tool. In the meantime, though, that's going to be a few Triforce already completed, so that is a really sweet spike for the gangplank. For Unified, still not, for both of these AD carries, not complete with their first items just yet, including the mid lane. But things are going really well, according to plan, for Talon.
Yeah, still waiting on that first lethality item to come through for Unified, and he's going to get scary around that 3 item break point, where he's going to have the, of course, Edge of Night and his 2 other lethality items completed. So that's kind of what Talon are waiting on when it comes to this Senna pick at the very least. So going to be relying more on Candy and River to help bridge the gap between that point of the game and now. As Waco and Ysera are just going to continue trying to stack up and farm as much as they can for this Aphelios to become a late-game monster.
And this is the Talon special, where once River gets ahead, he likes lingering around the enemy jungle. Possibly setting up for a dive here against Uniboy. Changes his mind, shifts over somewhere else. Kongye, though, has placed a ward at that part of the brush.
And he's still getting tracked here. A lot of good defensive vision coming out from AHQ is going to force River to also back on top of a ward. It's vision everywhere, it seems, on the side of AHQ. And that gives them full knowledge of where River is and should allow Kongya to maybe show himself a little bit. And also look to try and get some vision down in around the Dragon Pit. Still about 3 minutes, though, until we have the Ocean.
Yeah, amazingly done by AHQ. It's just... I suppose playing by experience, we've seen a lot of times where if Kaiwing is not on this Tom Canch, he's either on a Bard, which really pairs well with the Rek'Sai with River here. Would like to just keep invading the jungle of AHQ at times and possibly start a fight, especially when they're ahead. And it seems to me that sort of technique is getting denied away from Talon with the vision that AHQ has been putting on towards their jungle.
Things going to come out, though, on the side of Talon. Get a little defensive here as Kong is going to continue to just stand by midsection of the map down toward the bot lane. River, though, with that little bit of knowledge and a little bit of, you know, sixth sense, realizing, hey, Kongyu might be actually down on the bot side, maybe trying to go for a hunt here onto Uniboy in the mid lane, who has now finished off his Archangel staff. Apologies, I forgot Lost Chapter built into that. Forgot about that change.
Oh yeah. And for Hanabi, he will be able to get control over that top side for now, which means more vision for Talon at the top side of the map in particular, especially blue side jungle of AHQ. And that's riddled with wards, and Kongyu will be able to spot that somehow, especially there's a control ward over there.
Does so himself. Now, though, River is going to tag him over toward the side, trying to defend the ward. Unfortunately, the pillar's not in the right place to do so, and that will allow Talon to clear out some of the vision. Waco, though, just hit his Infinity Edge. So now this Aphelios is going to start doing a decent amount of damage. We see HQ look to try and position themselves again toward this Rift Herald.
We stack now. Oop.
Little tap
Just
over
gonna
the
be a
wall.
little bit. Yeah, for Sarah, Seraph's Embrace already fully stacked for Uniboy, so that's going to be additional safety. Considering Uniboy didn't have Flash Burn anytime soon, considering there's not a lot of fights happening. But now for Talon, though, with Dragon spawning in a few seconds, would like to get that for themselves, but HQ playing that wave push game and getting more control, at least to scare off Talon.
Yeah, with Ocean Soul on the map, both teams would obviously love to stack up the dragons as early as possible. Ocean is so nice to have, that extra regen during the fights. Sierra looking for a hook, not going to land. Nice Scout of the Week, gets a decent chunk of damage there on Unified. It's just this, how you like to say, the ARAM game in mid lane. Just trying to get as much pressure down to get the vision on toward the top side of the map for this Rift Herald. AHQ though, look to posture themselves toward possibly the Drake here as Kanya still uncertain where they want to go. They land the hook over toward the side. The box goes on down. Unified still though, very safe. Gonna pop his ultimate, but Kaiwing gets instantly taken down. And there's no Kench to keep now the side of Talon safe. That should be enough of an advantage for them to at least get some damage onto this tower, possibly translate that over toward the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, the only front line that they have left is definitely Hanabi, and again, I want to say this Ysera pick from, this Thresh pick rather from Ysera. He played this 4 times, and it has been the death of several teams in the PCS. And with that, it has been proven once more to be possibly maybe even the death as a Kaiwing. Again, at this point, not tanky, especially you only have a Dead Man's Plate. And it is that Uniboy that managed to tag you with the Unleashed Power. And now Talon's going for round number 2.
Yeah, we saw Candy actually ended up using his teleport right before that replay happened, and let's see, Kench is going to rejoin onto the fight, so that's going to be Talon feeling aggressive once again with 5 members. Hook is going to land over toward Hanabi into the Scout of the Week. Candy, though, with the cooldown down on the side of Uniboy, might decide to try and go for a flank. Civ is just going to try and at least push back the wave as Talon now onto the Drake, so we got ourselves a bit of a scattered skirmish. Dragon will reset Hanabi over toward the side, looking for his way in, possibly with, of course, the quick advance. And there he goes over the wall.
Flash.
Is able to get on top of Uniboy, and that's the target you're looking for. Candy gonna go for a ride once again. Scatter of the Week is gonna be there, but it's not enough. And Hanabi, though, will get taken down. It's a trade of the tank for the mid laner, as Waco is still very healthy on the Aphelios. Candy jumping in. Going to jump back, though, immediately. Had to use the second proc of his ultimate. That will allow AHQ, though, to go ahead and take down a bit of damage onto the tower. Meanwhile, though, unfortunately for Talon, they're not going to be able to really get anything else. Do they try and backtrack over toward Rift Herald? They can. It's already 21 minutes. So AHQ now back onto the Dragon. River looking for possibly a steal. Going to try and jump on in. Can see the health bar at the moment. Wasn't pulled all the way back on in. It's a 50-50, and River's able to secure it and take it away. AHQ unable to secure the objective.
Clap, clap, clap. Now everyone is under pressure there. That was such a prolonged fight, and that was such a long waiting time as well. You see Candy primed and ready at the side, managed to tag someone behind lines, enemy lines rather, and that was Uniboy being jumped upon by River and Candy, and at that point, you didn't have any more burst on your side, and you had to rely on Wacko this time around and Ziv with the barrels. And with that, HQ lost the Dragon as well.
But for AHQ, they have been slowly starting to find a bit of a gold lead just because of the towers taken earlier on now in the game. You also now have Hurricane online for the Aphelios. He's starting to get a bit scary, and you saw during that team fight, if he's left alone to his own devices and isn't pressured here by Candy, River, or Hanabi, there's not a whole lot the side of Talon can do.
Yeah, and then I think that's the scary part, because if AHQ managed to get that perfect, once they managed to build up more on their defensive items, you know, the stopwatches, especially for Uniboy, since Candy just loves to dive on towards the Syndra, I think that will pose as a problem for Candy in the long run. But if Talon keeps pushing with this pace, I think it's just one of those things where they can shut them down. For HQ though, they're finding the hooks, not able to land.
The wall though, Scour of the Week not going to connect from Uniboy as Talon try and push in mid, but in comes the engage possibly for AHQ as they pop. I believe it was the Shurelya's actually already coming out from Ysera. They got themselves a little bit of extra move speed, so Ysera acting as the main engagement for the side of AHQ. Civ though still in the bot lane, farming away, has his second item now, Sterax, completed after the Triforce, so his game playing starting to also scale as the game goes.
Yeah, and it's quite understandable that you have Ysera as your main engage tool, considering that one of the hard CCs that you'll have to rely on is definitely from Uniboy, and you don't want Uniboy to sacrifice position just to get that initiation. And with that, we saw many times how the combo works with you when you get at that death sentence. Even the pillar as well really helps. Possibly you can use the cannon barrage to block the retreat path if you're going for a full-on engage. So that's something that Talon should watch out for.
It does feel like, though, on the side of Talon, that this window of opportunity is starting to close in little by little. You're going to have to heavily rely on Unified to be the super late game carry, you could say. Try and at least, carry these fights on the Senna once he has all his stacks and he has his, 4 or 5 items complete. But everybody else on the team, you're kind of hoping you can maybe catch off Uniboy or Waco with Candy. If he's not able to do just that, it could be game over. Hanabi looked for a rather aggressive play, going to pop his ultimate immediately. HQ, though, coordinated, just go ahead and funnel through the choke point. Civ going down low, but he gets hooked on back on the side of Hanabi, and Waco finds the kill.
And that's the thing, you do have the Trundle on your side as well, so any sort of tanks will be a little bit squishy with the Subjugate. And, HQ really invested so much to eliminate Hanabi here and managed to bait this out as they're dueling it out actually in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, we do see on the side of Talon, they weren't able to really get a whole lot. They may get that top lane tower in response, so they get a little bit of the standing gold left on the map as they've yet to really take any turrets. They do at least get the top lane tower, as Candy's going to get that. Has his revolver completed. So if Uniboy's not careful like this, he could easily get taken down here. Scat of the Week is going to be popped into, unfortunately, the Unleashed Power, and everything comes through. 3 members up in the top side of the map, able to take down Uniboy. There you go. If you're able to pick him off, that's the starting point here. But what else are you able to get here on the side of Talon? Beautifully
done. And again, it's so hard to catch Candy as a slippery Akali there, and with that you saw with the Unleashed Power, not even enough to burst Candy down. And you're right, what does Talon get from that elimination? I suppose more gold on Candy's pockets to further burst down the squishies, especially Wako will be a huge problem when it comes to the late game.
So he's going to finish off his Morellos, same on the side of Uniboy. As they get themselves their second items. Take a look here. QSS, though, is online here for Waco, and in comes Kanye. He's a fast Trundle with that Shirelia's. Not going to main a whole lot, though, as the root came out, and Unified is able to get a decent chunk of damage back onto Ysera.
Yeah, nicely done. And they definitely have to watch out for those Shirelia's engage. And we'll be actually quickly back up in time for possibly a dragon take, as AHQ is already starting this one.
That's going to be dragon secured here by AHQ, unless Talon try and change elsewise. That's Kylin with a little bit of an engage. A nice root there on Kanya. Takes him down low. In comes the Dawn. It's not enough, though, as Hanabi goes for a ride. That is going to be the dragon, though, secured by Talon and AHQ. That's something they did not want to give on over. Fight, though, wants to go back for a re-engage here. Uniboy got to be careful. Does see Candy on top of the ward. Talon will disengage, and again, they're able to take down the dragon away from AHQ.
And now pressure is building for AHQ in particular, mainly because that is Talon is on their way for their 4th dragon. That's going to be 4th Dragon Soul, and it's going to enable as well that Elder Drake. And for AHQ, possibly, since the game is rather one of those things where even though a fight has been won by a single team, by the team, not a lot of objectives have been taken off the map, especially the towers. There's still 2 towers, outer towers still intact, and therefore I feel like this game could even reach towards the Elder Drake.
So now for AHQ, that's always a little bit of a concern in the back of your head. If you try and go for a Baron, especially after the next 4 minutes, it's always a possibility that Talon can just go ahead and take the Ocean Drake in response, so it's all about trying to play cleanly here. And it forces AHQ's hands, so they got to make their decision when they can. Waco's just going to go ahead, though, and farm back up while he can. Now looking to possibly set themselves up toward the top side of the map to at least claim vision around the Baron.
Yep, and for AHQ, tons of vision being invested, just as you mentioned, on the top side of the map. They do want to break this, though, this top side, just to get at least equalize the lane for top and have control over Baron. And in the meantime, teleport is up for Hanabi. That's the reason why he's lingering a little bit around bot side. Will port back, will not further push that lane, as there's still that outer tower at bot side. And now it will fall down into, you know, Ysera pushing that Shirelius again, finding that pick.
It also comes down to these team fights where Civ now needs to, you know, add on a little bit more than just the cannon barrage. You need to see a good barrel combo come out from this gameplay. That's kind of the one key piece we've been missing from AHQ during a lot of these team fights is, you know, where's the Pirate bit? He's always in the side lane pushing around. Now he's starting to scale up. I believe he's closing in onto his third item, so he's going to start doing a decent amount of damage and needs to be present during these fights, or we will see again Talon being able to just walk over AHQ if they're not able to protect their carries.
Yeah, and it could be the repeat, what we've seen a similar occurrence, and where Candy just fully dives on Uniboy, and again that window might possibly be closed for Talon, considering there are a lot of defensive items being built already on the side of AHQ as the game progresses. And now for Talon, they are pressured to keep guarding this Baron, as HQ actually just removing a couple of vision wards. For Talon, pushing again, this is a waiting game for both of these teams.
It's a bit scary here because we've yet to have a full team fight go one way or the other in the midsection of the game. HQ, though, they're going to go ahead and start the battle as they lock down Hanabi into the box. They go. Candy still not able to really find an opportunity to try and jump on in. The Devourer comes out from Kaiwing, but he gets stunned up by the Scour of the Weak. In comes the Cannon Barrage. Hanabi still over toward the side. A decent amount of damage onto Kaiwing. It's still not enough, and that's a lot of ultimates used. Waco still has his own, though, and might be looking to position himself for a possible play. Candy looking for a flank, though. Waco's got to be careful how far he goes forward, and that's the power of this Aphelios. He's starting to come online. Can they actually get on top of him? Is able to dash away, and that's going to be him taking down the Kench. And now Candy has to start running back on this Akali. May try and turn back a kill before he goes down. Unified not able to do much here as he was already taken out, and now he has to come back toward the fight. A nice hook onto Hanabi, not able to find it, and Candy gets taken down. It's the delayed triple kill, and this Aphelios has come online, and that was the play that we mentioned for AHQ. If they can keep Waco alive, it will help them immensely during these fights, and with that, Baron secured.
I just want to give props to Ysera with that play there. Just deny the all-in from Candy, even though he used his ult to get through Uniboy because of the peel coming from HQ, mainly from Ysera. That was just a fantastic job, and they're rewarded for that, getting a lot of kills, getting shutdowns, and as well as this Baron.
Oh, and Unified almost gets taken down. And we've seen the issue during that previous fight, as we'll take a look again, is Unified gets hit so low here at this point that he can't step up anymore, and with that, there's not a whole lot of consistent damage, and it's up to Candy to try and find a great flank, but there's too many minions to get a shirk in it.
And the fact is that Unified lost his front line as Hanabi and River decided to go from the side, and with that, Unified doesn't have that entryway, and again, that play was just magnificent coming from Ysera, just denied any sort of burst, and this is the time where Waco is online, and because of that, Talon is going to have a difficult time coming into these team fights.
And unfortunately, Baron buff is a bit of a nail biter if you're on the side of Talon. You have a Senna, you have an Akali, not necessarily the best at clearing out waves, and you see AHQ on the side of Talon. They're at least trying to maybe try and catch out this Aphelios, try and, you know, take down a Baron buff or two, but especially with a split pushing Civ on this gangplank, it is looking dire as Konga is still not afraid to just charge on forward with the help of Ysera. Yeah,
they are with their full fighting power now. Well, not fully, but already we have Waco and his third item already with that Phantom Dancer. And with the QSS already online, we did mention as the game progresses. Wait, Hanabi wants to start something.
Hanabi goes in for the backline fight. AHQ, they're caught into a choke point, but that's still so much damage coming out from Waco. You see Candy at least trying to get on top of the Aphelios, but it will not happen as he's able to keep himself alive, and he goes on a dominating spree into a double kill. You make it now another kill over to Uniboy, and like that, AHQ should be able to take the base.
This is wild. That's a lot of death timers on Talon, and that's Unified, the only one left, and that's 1 minute as well for the Baron buff. HQ, what a dominating performance once more.
And there you go, AHQ, they know when they can take this game and when they come online. Knowing their power spikes was key in game 1, and immediately right when they hit it on game 2, they clean up Talon. And like that, now Talon forced to have to decide what they need to do for game 3, or they could be looking at a 3-0 sweep on the side of AHQ.
We did mention whoever wins this game will set the story for this series, or will it be a potential 3-0? Because AHQ looks really, really solid. The early skirmishes did not phase them at all, and it's all about waiting for Wacko to hit his power spikes, and because of that, they really denied a lot, and that's Morelos and 2 executioners. So whenever Kenny would desire to just dive in, any sort of outplay potential in terms of getting a huge chunk of health back is gonna be denied, and at that point, I wonder how Talon feels after getting at least Candy ahead in the early game somewhat and still not able to snowball that through.
And unfortunately, you saw there, that was what looked to be a perfect opportunity for Candy. Well, the game was already so far gone at that point. You had so much shielding coming out onto Waco, as he had himself, of course, the enhance from the rune, so he was able to have a little bit extra health overall, as well as having the red gun out, able to sustain during a lot of the bursts that came out from Candy. And unfortunately, if Candy isn't able to take down this Aphelios, it's pretty much game over, and we've seen it time and time again now in both of these games. Right when AHQ know they are at their strongest, they finish out the game fast.
And it's beautiful to watch, and from the early game too, I just want to commend AHQ's vision control, because you saw how River just really, since game 1, really wants to shut down Wacko on the bot lane, but not able to because just so many protective vision to deny any sort of early game ganks.
And we're going to go ahead and take a look at that final team fight that helped decide the game for AHQ. All starts off with Hanabi trying to go for the engage in the flank.
And this is the call for Talon, because they want to take advantage of the fact that at least you still had Candy still racking up a couple of kills, but it was too late, as Wacko has been pretty much very powerful already with 3 items in his pocket, and with that, a ton of peel as well from AHQ. And again, props to Acera with a magnificent play, just denying Candy to do any sort of play.
And question now becomes, what do you do here on the side of Talon when it's in the draft? I feel like both of these games have been heavily decided by the draft alone. And, you know, you see Talon, they're trying to find their opportunities, but the window is so short for them to actually try and take over the game that they don't give themselves enough room, and AHQ are just able to shut them down.
It makes me wonder, because it's just one of those things where they've lost so much. Game number 1, game number 2. Game 2, it was a little bit close since they got it early, but at the same time, you're right, it's one of those things where draft-wise, there's only a small window where you can make it work. If you don't make it work at that time and snowball that, then it's, you know, you have Wacko, or like the consistent damage dealer on the Aphelios, and with that, the unified Kaiwing duo of the Tom Kenshin as well as the Senna is not 100% win rate anymore, and imagine it has been working during the group stages.
And you see there, Wacko is going to be the one taking home the MVP with 100% kill participation on the side of AHQ, sitting 7-1-4 on the Aphelios, so congratulations on over to him for picking up MVP of Game 2, and now AHQ start looking toward Game 3 and say, all right, we might be able to just go ahead and cleanly sweep up this series, and that's a vast improvement considering Talon had their number during the regular season.
Yeah, imagine Talon 2-0ing, especially on red side. Red side is definitely one of Talon's strengths, and with that, it seems to me AHQ has managed to stay calm and collected, just play with their play with the composition that they've drafted so calm and collectively, and with that, it makes me wonder, what does Talon decide to do? Do they decide to still play standard, or try something very insanely surprising to catch AHQ off guard? Because AHQ seems to have everything figured out already.
Well, I got word that Talon have opted to go for blue side in Game 3, so we'll see whether or not them having first pick is going to do anything when it comes to this draft, and maybe that'll be the secret that they're looking for. We'll have to see. We're going to take a short break as we head toward Game 3.